Hey writers, last week we listed off the 8 steps of getting ready to be published. However, we jumped right into one aspect of step number 7 instead of sensibly starting off with step number 1. This week we're going to rectify that little problem. In fact, we are going to spend the next 2 months going step by step through the whole entire process, from the pre-draft writing stages to the draft writing stages to the manuscript feedback stages and beyond. To start off, let's relist the process itself. The 8 steps of getting ready to be published are as follows. Number 1, figure out whether you need to put in research time before you get started. Number 2, complete a first draft. Number 3, revise that first draft. Number 4, revise your second draft. And number 5 is revise your third draft. After this, give it to a beta reader. This is step number 6. Give it to 2 beta readers or 5 if you can find that many. Consider their critiques, add in appropriate revisions, and then review that draft as well. Step number 7, give it to a professional editor. Consider his or her critiques and add in appropriate revisions as well, and then review that draft. Step number 8, start shopping it out to literary agents and publishing companies, or choose to self-publish if you'd like. So now that we have that covered, let's get back to step number 1. Figure out whether you need to put in research time before you get started. This might seem like a very obvious point to cover with a clear answer to give. If you're writing historical fiction or most types of nonfiction, authors in the making should do research, right? That's correct. But it doesn't stop there. The truth is that if you are writing about any subject matter you're not professionally or personally very familiar with, you should be doing some basic background checking before you write. For example, is your main character a flight attendant and you've never been a flight attendant before? Then learn what it's really like to be a flight attendant before you start mapping out your world, your setting, your plot, and definitely your characters. Is your main character a chef and you've never been a chef before? Then learn what it's really like to be a chef before you write about that. Or is your main character a politician and you've never been a politician before? Well, it's a safe bet that your main character is going to be outright evil, but you still need to learn the daily ins and outs of being a politician before you can realistically portray the profession in your own writing. This is, of course, presuming that you want to be an informed and informative author someday. You admittedly don't have to know what you're talking about in order to get rich as a writer, but it is a lot easier to gain a loyal following when you show authorial integrity by studying up on matters before you present them as fact, even in the context of fiction. Not to mention that really you can learn so much along the way. For me, doing research for my Founding America historical fiction series was an amazingly eye-opening experience that helped me see the British side of the Revolutionary War in a whole new light. Don't get me wrong, I'm still all rah rah America in the end, but there are so many nuances in any conflict, historical or otherwise. And those are important to understand if you want to grow as an intellectual in general, much less as a writer specifically. So really, consider this first part of the 8 steps of getting ready to be published. Really, really consider it. And consider it well before you get to your publishing goal. If you're already a pro on the subject matter you're writing about, then good, wonderful, go get started. And if not, then count yourself one lucky writer. You could be in for an educational experience of a lifetime. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday. All right, bye guys.